to the channel. My name is Derek, and today I'm going to be talking about how I connect my Akai MPC One to my Montage, to my Yamaha Montage. Now, specifically the way I use my Montage and my Akai together is I use the sequencer in the MPC One, and I use the sounds in the Montage. So the MPC One actually controls the sounds in the Montage, if that makes sense. And I'm just going to be showing you how I actually connect it and set it up in the settings and so on and so forth. So if you like in-depth videos and stuff like this, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel as well. And always hit that bell icon so you get notifications, because I'm always uploading new stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. So I have my Yamaha Montage here and my Akai, my MPC One, and right now if I just hit play on the MPC One, so you get sound, and the sound that you're hearing is actually coming from the Yamaha Montage. There is no sound that is actually being generated from the MPC One. The MPC One simply contains the MIDI data that I need, and all of that MIDI data is being transmitted to the Montage, and the sounds are being triggered. So now the way I have it set up is I have the USB to host coming from the Montage going into the USB input in the MPC One. I choose to use USB because it's just one cable, and that one cable can both send and receive data both ways. You can set it up where you connect your MIDI in from your keyboard to your MIDI out on the MPC One, and vice versa. You can send your MIDI in to your MIDI out on the Montage. But in order to keep it simple, I just use a USB cable and plug it right in. Now, when I do it that way, let's come over here to my MPC One. If I come over here into the preferences, hit this button twice, and it shows my various different preferences. You can see my top one here. My top options, it shows my Montage MIDI 1, Montage MIDI 2, Montage MIDI 3. Those are my imports. And then I have my outports, Montage MIDI 1, Montage MIDI 2, Montage MIDI 3. And on my Montage MIDI 1, I have the sync set up. I hit this button for sync. And also I come down here to where it says send, and I have my send set up to MIDI clock, because I want the clock and all the tempo and everything to be controlled by the MPC One. So that's how I have that set up there. And really, as far as the setup, the MIDI setup, that's really it. Now I can come over here into the Montage and come over here to utility. I'm just going to show you my settings here. And the first thing here is have the MIDI in and out. Now I went to my I hit my utility here, and then you go to your settings. You might be here. You have to come down to your MIDI IO. That's MIDI in and out. And my MIDI in and out, I set up for USB. I do not do MIDI. If I did MIDI, then I could only use my MIDI cables. But since I'm using a USB, that's why I have that selected. I have my ARP. My ARP out, my ARP MIDI out is turned on. Basically, when I have my arpeggiator playing, it will actually record the data from the arpeggiator. And yeah, let me just go show you that really quickly, what that option does. And come back here to my performance, and let's come over here and switch the sequence. So I do have a recording from, I used the guitar. Let's see here. So the guitar that you're hearing is actually an arpeggio that's already in the Montage. I just use the arpeggiator inside to record that guitar part. So if I hit solo, you can hear it now. So that's an arpeggio. That's coming from the arpeggiator in the montage. I'm going to come over here and just select my grid view over here, but I'm going to go over to channel number 7, which I labeled guitar strum. And if I come into my grid view, you can see all the MIDI data from the actual guitar part is right there. Now, if I didn't have that, oh, I don't want to solo anything else. Here we go. So if I didn't have that set up here in the ARP MIDI out, if I didn't have that set to on, I couldn't really record the data from the arpeggiator into the MPC One. So I want to have that on if I want to record that data. Otherwise, you would just hear one note or the chord that I was hitting, because that's all I'm actually playing. The arpeggiator was doing the rest. So, but I wanted to record the arpeggiator data, so that's why I have that set that way. I have my local off, because if I have it on, you're actually getting sound. You're getting like a double sound. I don't want double sound, so that's why I have this set to off. There, now I have my MIDI, my MIDI sync. I have it set to MIDI because I'm going to be using the clock. I use the clock from the MPC One in here, so I have it set to MIDI, and then I have receive set to on. So go back to my performance here, and so all of my, because I just talked about the clock, let's go back to my performance. Perfect. And just go ahead and hit play. Let's come back here. No, we can go back there. Boom. So all of the BPM, everything is controlled via the MPC One. So if I hit, let's hit play again. I can slow it down, or I can speed it up. So everything that has to do with the actual tempo is actually being controlled by the MPC One. And so why that is why that's important is because, again, when I set this up, I don't really do this for studio kind of stuff. If I'm just doing some sort of a studio project, I have this set up this way for live playing. I did record another video and showed you guys how I record. I just went through and recorded like a whole song or part of a song using the montage and the MPC One. That link will be in the description if you want to check out that video. But I use this for live playing. So I actually have the clock synced up, and I'm going to have the MPC One send the clock information to the montage. Now, something else that's kind of important, come over here into my utilities, and if I come over here into my tempo settings, my tempo setting, I have it set the MIDI sync is set to MIDI. I don't want it internal because I want it to be receiving the MIDI information from the MPC One. And then I have my clock out. I have that turned off, and I want that off because I don't want it sending clock information to the MPC One. And now what I have is I have actually here, you can see there's a setting for your click. Now, when I'm playing live, let's say I'm playing with other musicians, I have to be able to send those other musicians a click so they can hear, so everybody can stay in sync and everybody can stay on track. And so I want to send that to like a drummer's headphones or something like that. that is something I can do with the Montage. So the Montage has both your main outputs, and then it has assignable left and right outputs as well. And I use my assignable left and right outputs to send my click. So right now the click mode is set to record, but if I turn it from record to always, now you can hear the clock. You hear the metronome. Now, I have it set up in my mixer on a separate channel because it's coming out of the assignable, because I can come down here, right? And I can send the clock out of the assignable left and rights, or the main left and rights, or I can send it via USB, or assignable left, or assignable right, or USB mono. But I have it set up for the assignable left and right now. And so that's on a separate channel than everything else. So that's on one channel, right? But this is a completely different channel. So I can hit play. Now I slow it down. You can hear the click slow down as well. If I speed it up over here on the MPC One. And so the reason why I use that, let's turn that off just so it's not just completely annoying everyone, is I will send that to the in-ears, or the monitors for the other musicians. So what I do here, if I come to my performance, let's say a drummer shows up and I don't actually need the drum part to play. I will come over here to my drum part here and I will just mute it, right? And then the drummer is going to hear this in his headphones. Right? And the rest of the instruments are going to play as well. So we go like this. But they're on separate tracks. So that's one. That's the second one. So the drummer or the musicians or whoever else is actually hearing that click happen over and over again. And so that's how everybody's able to stay in sync with the keyboard. So, you know, let's say the drummer is there. I do have a drummer, but I don't have a bass player. I mean, I don't have a drummer, but I do have a bass player. I just mute the bass part, and everybody's going to hear, the bass player's just going to hear the click. So now there's no bass. And so I can mute whatever channels I need to mute, and everybody can hear the click, because the click is on a separate track, and everybody can stay in sync. So I can be ready for whatever musicians and stuff are there. So if my bass player doesn't show up, I have a bass part ready. If the drummer doesn't show up, I have a drum part ready. If they do show up, I can mute those parts, and everybody can still hear the click and stay in sync. So that's how I connect my MPC One to my Yamaha Montage and set it up for live play. And thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you guys like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And remember, like and subscribe to this channel if you like in-depth tutorials, reviews, and stuff like that on equipment like this. And make sure you hit the bell notification icon, because I'm always uploading new stuff. And with that, I will see you guys on the next video.